as we have a situation here in Philadelphia, and it's not a new situation. It's the 76ers situation. So just let me outline the show. Good morning to everybody. If you're watching live on YouTube, shout out all of our Mad Chatters down there. Good morning, Mad Chatters. Watching on Roku TV. If you have Roku TV, you may not even know you have it. I have it at home. My basement TVs have Roku. And you search PHLY, and boom, all of our programming is going around the clock. So you can catch us live at 8 o'clock. You can catch Ant live at 9 o'clock. All the shows live, but also then they just constantly are running our programming. So if you have Roku TV, it's a great way to watch us here on PHLY. And if you're listening on the podcast, the audio version podcast, we don't forget about the audio people. All right? You can download the podcast, subscribe to us, give 5-star reviews, but the podcast is posted a little bit after 9 o'clock every morning, Philly with Jon Marks. All right, so let's do it. We're going to review the timeline of the 76ers here. So I was not expecting Joel Embiid to play tonight against Detroit. I don't really know who else was expecting the Joel Embiid to play tonight, or Paul George for that matter. Paul George in the injury stuff, we saw him get hurt. We saw him get injured. I've no issue with any of it, right? Like he's injured. He got injured in a game. He hyperextended his knee, right? Like, so I wasn't surprised when they said that he wasn't going to be ready to start the regular season. But what the 76ers have done and what they've created here, and essentially they've created chaos. They've created their own chaos, and this is on them now. They have turned a circus into a clown show. The 76ers are a clown show right now. And I don't say that to just anybody or about anything, because when people will tweet at me with the clown emoji, it really pisses me off because I'm not a clown. I don't say clown things. When I said I thought the Phillies championship window had closed with this particular roster, I got some people who are like, oh, you're a clown. Like, no, like the Sixers have turned this into a clown show. Let's go over the timeline and then we'll talk about it. So you remember, during training camp, Embiid, he wasn't scrimmaging. He wasn't doing 5-on-5s. It was part of a plan. He wasn't injured. The Sixers were very vague about everything. They weren't sharing information. So the day before the start of the regular season, I wasn't expecting Embiid to play in the opener, but they hadn't said that he wasn't. And there were a lot of people, including people on the beat, I think our own Kyle Neubeck, who had thought that Joel Embiid was going to play opening night. So the day before the regular season, and here's Nick Nurse with it, the Sixers announce Embiid won't play, but then they're very weird about how he's not injured. Here's Nick Nurse before the start of the regular season.
Nick, I think to that point, when people hear you guys have a plan, they think of those things like not playing back-to-backs, resting him in the middle of the season. But without any kind of setback, and we're saying he's on schedule throughout the preseason, how do we square that he's not ready to just play games? Just trying to figure out, because it's not like the regular season opener snuck up on you guys.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to you. Right? He's in practice. He's looking good. He's progressing. He's not quite ready yet. He'll be ready pretty soon.
Is the ramp
I don't know what else to say to you. Okay?
So it's a ramp up. He's not quite ready yet. He looks good in practice. There was no setback. There was no injury. More or less, this was just part of the plan to manage Joel Embiid, which is essentially what the 76ers are saying. Like, what are you guys talking about? No, there's nothing wrong going on here, right? So then yesterday, they put out a statement saying Joel Embiid and Paul George will not play tonight against the Pistons. They participated in portions of practice and will be reassessed later in the week. Here's our own Kyle Neubeck's tweet. So all the guys on the beat were told this verbally by the 76ers. Not playing tomorrow night. Paul George also isn't playing, but again, we're not even talking about that. And he was in practice and it'll be reassessed later in the week. So the statement comes out and then Nick Nurse comes out. He won't answer questions regarding Embiid. He refers the reporters to the statement. Here's how it sounded yesterday after 76ers practice.
We have to worry about Joel. Nick, obviously we have to worry about Joel and Paul. In terms of their participation in practice today, were they able to do any
Tough to hear this part.
like that today?
You guys got the update?
There it is.
They were in parts of practice.
On
we go.
It sounded like
Apologies, but go ahead.
Sorry, it sounded like you guys went pretty hard for a good chunk of time today during practice. What was the focus, or what we're trying to hone
Just
in
trying
on?
to establish and maintain some type of identity and toughness of who we want to be and who we are and how we want to play, which finally showed up there 3 games in. Just staying on that track.
With Joel's plan,
I'm not going to answer. Go ahead. Anybody else got anything?
What was different?
They've given you the updates on that, right? They've given you the updates on Joel. Go ahead.
What was different?
And that's Nick Nurse's MO from Toronto. I read that before he came here. He even gave him the hand. That was Dave Uran from KYW 103.9 FM. He even gave him the hand. He's like, I'm not going to answer that. And he refers him to the statement. And Dave did a great job following up on the question, because the first question was shut down pretty quick. I think was that Taryn Hatcher that was the next question. Where the next question was, nobody cares. All right. The first, he should be pressed until he does that. And he did that. I don't even really, I don't think it's a great look for Nick Nurse, but he is referring to the statement. I don't know how happy Nick Nurse is about this whole thing, because he also talked about how he has to concentrate on the players that are playing, and he's got to get them ready to play. He's got to win games, and I understand that, right? So Nick Nurse won't answer questions. Then conveniently, after the press conference, it's announced that the NBA has fined the 76ers $100,000 for public statements, including by President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey and head coach Nick Nurse, that were inconsistent with Joel Embiid's health status and in violation of NBA rules, including the league's player participation policy. You put up that graphic, we have it there, JP. The league's investigation also confirmed that Embiid has been unable to play in the 76ers regular season games this season due to a left knee condition, and therefore his games missed have not violated the player participation policy. So they were being investigated because he wasn't playing. Their investigation showed, what do you know? Joel Embiid's not playing because his left knee is effed up. Big surprise. The Sixers didn't violate it because he has a knee injury. That's why he's being held out. The Sixers aren't being transparent or consistent with their messaging to the media, which they're required to do. What are we doing here? Joel Embiid's injured. His left knee is injured. He had meniscus surgery that he missed 2 months of the season last year. Meniscus surgery on his left knee. The same knee that is giving him problems now. He had a previous meniscus surgery on that left knee. The league's investigation confirmed he's been unable to play because of the left knee. What are we doing? The left knee is injured. If the Sixers said in training camp, or even the day before the start of the regular season, the knee's been slow to come around. Once we got started in training camp, it was started to give him some problems. It was sore. We're going to take our time. We're going to be conservative. It's a long season. Instead, they refused to acknowledge a starting point to it. They refused to acknowledge an injury. This is ridiculous. They kept talking like there was nothing wrong, and this was the plan for Embiid. What is the freaking plan? This is no plan. The plan is they're managing this from the seat of their pants. And I don't know if I necessarily agree that Joel Embiid is the one that doesn't want information put out there. To me, this feels like a Daryl Morey production, up and down. All of this is unnecessary. It's Bush League, and it's embarrassing. And honestly, for 76ers fans out there that have dealt with the process, that have dealt with losing for 40 years, to more or less be spat right in the face of 76ers fans, all we want is transparency. All we want is the truth. Joel Embiid is going to be injured his entire career. We're going to have to deal with this stuff. So just be transparent. We may not like it, but I think we'll understand. You're not going to put Joel Embiid on the floor or on the court when he's injured at the start of the season. All of it's unnecessary. All of it. All they had to say was the knee was sore, and it's over with. We'd be mad. We'd be talking about how he's never going to be able to stay healthy, whatever it is, but still, what does that matter? If the goal is to have him healthy by the end of the season in the playoffs, which will never happen, by the way. This team is creating their own chaos, and it's went from a circus to a clown show, and it's ridiculous, and I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. They make it impossible to talk about the team. We want to talk about basketball. We want to talk about winning basketball. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen them get past the second round. It'd be nice to actually focus on the team. Even if Joel Embiid isn't out there, even if Paul George isn't out there, we could have spent the day ripping Tobias Harris. This could have been the Tobias Harris appreciation show or lack of appreciation show. Instead, we got to talk about this. Absolutely ridiculous by the 76ers. So I wanted to talk to the person that probably would be the hardest on the 76ers today. So Marcus Hayes is going to join us on the Philadelphia Inquirer coming up at 8:25 because he's actually been extra critical of Joel Embiid. So I'm curious if Marcus thinks, and he's down there. I'm not down at practice. I'm not down at the games. I'm sitting on my butt at home. Marcus is down there a lot. All of our PHL guys are down there a lot. I want to hear from Marcus. Maybe he's hearing whispers that Joel Embiid is the one trying to orchestrate whatever the hell's going on here. Maybe he's hearing that Joel Embiid came back from the Olympics not in great shape. I don't know, because he's been super critical of Joel Embiid in the 76ers. So Marcus Hayes is coming up at 8:25. But and JP is with me again this morning. It's like different general manager, different president. I don't blame Joshua Harris for this. I don't think Joshua Harris, a lot of times it starts from the top, like with Daniel Snyder or Jerry Jones. I don't believe that's the case with Joshua Harris. I just don't know how they can't get out of their own way with this kind of stuff. And it's so unnecessary. If they would have taken care of this properly in training camp or even before the start of the regular season, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. Instead, the NBA investigated you. You got to find $100,000. And now, guess what, JP? They're going to have to hold a press conference today before the game, and then they're going to speak after the game again. Would you say that this is going to be a topic of conversation since it wasn't announced they were fined when Nick Nurse spoke yesterday? You think that the reporters are going to be talking about this today and tonight?
Gee whiz, I really do think they are, John. What's with the Knicks in this city, man? They can't run a team the right way. And dude, I'm so frustrated with the Sixers team. Like I just wish I would have told myself back in 2014. There was a special moment I had sitting 5 rows above the half court line, right? And it was Sixers Nets. Ish Smith is point guarding the Sixers. And I'm thinking to myself, in about a couple years, this place can be special. We're going to have some winning basketball. We're going to go through this losing, but we're going to have some winning basketball. But dude, ever since the post-process days have been nothing but headaches. And yet again, the Sixers do not know how to handle a situation. And like the thing is, John, is we know Joel Embiid has an injury history. And yet now with the 12,000 injury that he has, they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
This is the same organization that we had Mr. Big Collar himself and Brian Colangelo with the burner accounts. Same organization that mishandled the poor rookie Markelle Fultz and his yips. Same organization didn't know how to handle the Ben Simmons or the James Harden situation properly. So we're surprised here now that they don't know how to handle this. John, it's very simple. It's all about the transparency. And the fact is they have not been transparent. Kyle Neuback's catching Nick Nurse with his pants down in press conferences here. This is, again, another mess. And we're supposed to believe it. This is going to be the year. Listen, I know that this has nothing to do with the on-the-court stuff. Yes, things can change in April. And Joel Embiid could be hypothetically 70% healthy. Paul George could be balling. Tyrese Maxey could be balling. But we still are incompetent, John.
It reeks of dysfunction.
Yes, dude.
It's hard to win with that kind of dysfunction. And I have a lot of respect for people down there that are running the 76ers. I have personal relationships with a couple of them. So that's when I say that it's turned into a circus, into a clown show, I really mean it. I'm not just saying that. This is ridiculous.
We all silly like the mayor.